Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We are decoding one of the most complex, literally impossible-seeming VR boss fights ever conceived in Excalibur AOP2. We're looking at the ultimate showdown between the Dream Knights and a terrifying, reality-destroying virus. I'm absolutely thrilled to guide you through this because, well, we're going to treat this chaotic battle exactly like what it is, a brilliant, high-stakes puzzle that's just begging to be solved. Let's dive in.
So here is our game plan for today. We'll be covering facing the immortal boss, camouflage and reconnaissance, the cataclysm counterattack, the stat reversal exploit, and finally, defeating the Weaver.
All right, Section 1, Facing the Immortal Boss.
Picture this. Our team finds themselves standing at the peak of the mountain of Olympus, right in the Hall of Light, staring into a gaping, toxic abyss with absolutely zero visibility. And lurking down in that sheer, suffocating darkness is Zanbongfar, the Weaver of Calamity. This reality-destroying virus has a body literally the size of a castle. I mean, it's massive. It has 3 distinct heads, a lion, an eagle, and a dragon. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, it's rocking 6 living tails, each topped with a serpent's head. Its ultimate endgame? To completely fuse light and darkness, transforming both the real and dream worlds into one perpetual, inescapable nightmare.
Now, you might think our protagonist, Zan, would be terrified, but he isn't intimidated in the slightest. When Zanbongfar sinisterly reveals its grand plan to merge realities and capture the team, Zan claps back with this incredible line. "I'm saying you, Zanbongfar, just triggered a death flag." So the crucial takeaway here is how perfectly Zan sets this aggressive, super confident tone right from the jump. He is absolutely not backing down.
Moving on to Section 2, Camouflage and Reconnaissance. Because look, despite Zan's confidence, charging blindly into a toxic dark zone is basically tactical suicide. So the team pulls off their first brilliant move. Kieran and Zan actually use physics to their advantage. They know Zanbongfar is completely blind to the element of light, so they wrap themselves in these halos of light to completely mask their presence. Then they take the wavelengths of their light and sync them to the adjacent wavelengths of the wind blowing inside the boss's domain. And the result, they essentially build themselves a sensory radar. They gain complete field awareness without ever once giving away their physical positions. It's a real game changer.
But their brilliant radar reveals something truly terrifying. When they finally manage to lock onto the Weaver and activate the Libra system to scan its stats, they are hit with a system message that reads, "Boss stat, immortal." Imagine the sheer terror of realizing your enemy literally has no health bar, no vulnerabilities whatsoever. It's essentially a fatal bug woven into the fabric of reality itself.
Which brings us to Section 3, the cataclysm counterattack.
When the actual combat finally kicks off, things immediately go horribly, horribly wrong for our heroes. The boss creates this massive, devastating feedback loop. Think about it like this. When Zanbongfar roars with wind, Zan and Kieran instinctively defend themselves by unleashing fiery dragons. But the boss just uses that fire to whip up massive fire tornadoes and earthquakes. Okay, so then the team tries to cool things down with humidity and frigid wind, right? Well, the boss responds by breathing fire, heating up all that vapor, and triggering a massive lightning storm. Basically, the team's own elemental attacks are being hijacked and weaponized against them to dish out massive area of effect damage.
Kieran, being the tactician he is, quickly puts the pieces together. He realizes the Weaver of Calamity's ultimate move, called Cataclysm, doesn't just happen randomly. It actually requires very specific prerequisites. First, the boss activates its armored scales. Then, it intentionally does the exact opposite of what the team does, and just waits. It waits for the team to attack with an amplifying element, like adding fire to wind. It essentially tricks the team into providing the perfect atmosphere catalyst, leading to devastating self-inflicted punishment.
Okay, Section 4, the stat reversal exploit.
All right, this is it. This is the absolute climax of the battle, the big aha moment. Knowing for a fact they can't win by playing by traditional rules, Zan and Kieran decide to break them. They use a highly forbidden Nightbane family technique called Spider Mode. In this totally desperate physical gambit, Kieran throws the Weaver up into the air. Zan intercepts it, intentionally taking a massive hit and literally inhaling the boss's poison to become a quote-unquote grade A pathogen. And using all that crazy momentum, Zan physically dropkicks this colossal castle-sized Weaver entirely out of its dark zone and straight into his dad's Hall of Light. No way, right?
Now, here is the core mechanic of the entire encounter, and honestly, a brilliant masterclass in subverting typical game rules. See, Zanbongfar is a creature born entirely of nightmares. In a debilitating zone full of fear and poison, it gets massive buffs and becomes completely immortal. But San tips the scales by forcing the boss into the Hall of Light, which is an enhancing zone. For a creature made of pure malice, all that healing light and those positive stats actually act as a deadly poison.
The very moment it crashes into the Hall of Light, we get this incredibly satisfying cascade of debuffs. The Libra system updates instantly. The boss? It's now mortal. Its armored scales are sealed. That devastating Cataclysm skill? Sealed. Its fierce siphoning? Sealed. And to top the whole shebang off, it is completely blind. Just like that, the impossible boss is suddenly entirely vulnerable.
Which brings us to our final act, Section 5, Defeating the Weaver.
It's time for the team to capitalize on this massive vulnerability and execute the final blow. And it turns out, kicking the boss into the new zone beautifully fulfilled a hidden condition. Mitsuki's time manipulation sigil, known as the internal titanium chronochrome, actually requires a revolution to awaken. Tossing the boss from a debilitating zone into an enhancing one achieved exactly that revolution. Her sigil immediately switches from dormant to active, pulling up 2 massive dimensional clocks.
One of those clocks is a massive dark clock representing the Weaver's timeline. Now, normally, in a game, you'd want to slow down your enemy's time, right? But remember the exploit we just talked about. Because enhancing stats actively hurt this boss, Mitsuki chooses to aggressively speed up the Weaver's clock instead. This massive influx of positive time acceleration acts as the ultimate debuff, completely freezing the Weaver in place like some kind of undead statue. I mean, that is just pure tactical genius.
So, with the boss completely immobilized and mortal, the team unleashes a perfectly synchronized combined arms strike. Kirin commands the blaze, the Vanguard fires off their fiery dragons, and Concordia and Arlene fan the flames to amplify the heat to the absolute max. Engulfed in this intense, unstoppable combination of light and fire, the Weaver of Calamity rapidly shrinks down until it is permanently deleted from reality.
As the team logs out, San opens the mysterious Tome of 13 Rules. And there it is, the system victory notification celebrating their absolutely incredible achievement. The 11th rule has on this day been fulfilled. They didn't just beat a tough boss, they literally cleared a fundamental trial of the universe itself.
But, the celebration is pretty brief. Almost immediately, new words start to materialize on the page, introducing the 12th rule. On the summit of a mountain, discovery of self shall begin. The Weaver of Calamity has been decoded and defeated, but I want to leave you all with this provocative question. Now that the 11th rule is fulfilled, what internal, terrifying new trials await San and the Dream Knights at the very peak of this mountain? We'll have to find out. Until next time, keep analyzing, keep exploring, and keep learning.